Hey, it's that political ranting YouTuber who hasn't uploaded in 2 months despite a political race going on. Well, what made me decide to come back, at least for now, and comment on the ongoing situation? Was it the VP debate that was a complete fucking debacle? No. No, that's completely boring kabuki theater to me now. Nothing is less interesting to me than that tiny-faced goober JD Vance dealing with that absolute freaking pedophile slob monster fucking weird fucking swamp thing creature Tim Walz. Doesn't interest me in the fucking slightest. What interests me right now actually is the natural disaster response by the national government towards Hurricane Helene. You may have noticed this has happened kind of actually repeatedly since the fires in Hawaii last year, and also with the train derailments that spilled toxic chemicals all over several states. That was an event that I think happened 4 to 5 times in the past 16 months. Train derailments carrying caustic and toxic chemicals. What's bothering me is FEMA right now. A popular target of conspiracy theorists, the good old FEMA, the ones that everybody is worried is going to round us all up and put us into concentration camps when martial law is finally declared. And there is actually plans that the FBI and CIA have drawn up for that, but that's neither here nor there, because those could just be wargaming scenarios or anything. But what I am going to talk about is particularly the situation in North Carolina. Now, North Carolina, there has been no move by the Biden or Harris administration, whoever the fuck's running the Fed right now, the Congress right now. I don't know what the fuck's going on, but they're trying to pretend that thousands dead and massive flooding and just complete annihilation of infrastructure everywhere is not a natural disaster worth being responded to. And this is like one of the most crucial things you need to do to be seen as a humane dictatorial oligarchical overlord, is to actually show up when like a tornado kills a bunch of people or a hurricane kills a bunch of people or flooding kills a bunch of people or a wildfire kills a bunch of people and pretend you care. This is really important. And also, don't withhold money. Now, one of the things I find fascinating is the move to make this a partisan issue, because just about everybody who's going, hey, Democrat administration, why are you fucking over all these people who are homeless and without food and electricity and shit and leaving them to die? What the fuck is wrong with you? And the Democrats are responding, Republican, Republicatard, Drumpfler, Republicans voted to reduce funding to FEMA. And do you know what FEMA's budget is? It's fucking massive. And here's another thing. Pretending that like funding can't be reallocated and there can't be emergency Congress sessions to kind of tie up little knots like this. Like, hey, let's reallocate some money. Because here's a fascinating thing. I know the economy is complete dog shit, but the economy being complete dog shit is giving the false impression that the federal government is broke. It is not. It is not. They have so much fucking money. And as I've told my viewers repeatedly, if the citizens of this United States knew what the government spent the yearly budget on year over year, month by month, there would be not one congressman or executive branch politician left alive in Washington, D.C., Republican or Democrat. The system is so unfathomably corrupt that it's insane. And all any sane, rational person should be able to say is if in the past 2 years to 2.5 years, if we can spend $1 trillion on war while actually not being at war, spending about $600 billion on Ukraine and another, God, at least $240 billion on Israel, who isn't even also at war with an actual government, but just perpetrating a genocide against the remaining Palestinian territories. Yeah, we're paying for them to kill children and shoot babies and curb stomp infants. That's what we're doing right now. And we're paying for Ukraine, which is just about completely out of fighting age men, to continue to pretend to send the weapons and money that we buy them to the front line, but actually just to pocket it and sell most of the weapons that we're trying to give them to terrorists for a profit. The Ukraine war is nothing but a money laundering scheme. The United States government is a criminal mafia. But what I really want to talk about again is FEMA, okay? Because keep in mind, FEMA isn't just not properly responding to the situation in the Carolinas and Tennessee. They are accosting independent and local charities and churches who are bringing supplies to the region and illegally confiscating, stealing at gunpoint the goods that they're bringing in to try to bring relief to the Carolinas and Tennessee. They are forcibly stealing relief supplies to a natural disaster while also not supplying relief themselves. Which, again, is wildly fucking illegal. But again, how many times have I told you over the past 3 years, the law doesn't exist in this fucking country. The judiciary is hopelessly corrupt, and they are the only check against the legislature, which is hopefully corrupt. And all law enforcement, all judges, all fucking any part of the law enforcement apparatus just does whatever it's told, and they're ruled over by despotic fucking evil monsters, soulless pedophiles and child traffickers and murderers and thieves and embezzlers and satanic fucking criminals. So if you're wondering why I didn't go, ha ha ha, look at what a fool Kamala Harris and Tim Walz made of themselves, is because, first of all, I don't fucking care. First of all, they don't run the fucking government. They are just figureheads sitting there drawing your ire. It's kabuki theater. It's shadows on the wall of Plato's cave. They don't fucking matter. All they do is pocket a check to have you be mad at them, while people like FEMA, the IRS, the Federal Reserve, Department of Homeland Security, the FBI, CIA, the NSA, all these organizations and apparatuses, unelected, appointed parts of the deep state, what some people might call the Illuminati, and there's various places these same people go to that people go, oh, it's the Bilderberg Group. Well, who is the Bilderberg Group? Well, it's the corporate and deep state entities that actually run this country. Oh, what is Bohemian Grove? Oh, yeah, that's where the politicians and the unelected bureaucrats and then the fucking corporate overlords who have benefited from favoritism and subsidization by this corrupt government go to decide the way the pie is carved up between themselves while you're fucked. Okay, it's the same thing. What is Congress? It is just the front face of this fucking demonic satanic cult / criminal mafia. It's a racketeering organization. Okay. If you're in any of these organizations, FEMA, the FBI, I don't care what good you think you do, you belong at the bottom of a pit. Okay? You don't deserve to breathe American air. You are less than worthless. You are a constant suffering and misery and despair of this country. You are literally could not be more worthless because you are an active cancer, a poison coursing through the veins and killing this country. Please leave either the country or this mortal coil at your earliest convenience, preferably at my earliest convenience, which is now. Okay? So, at what point do you just go, not only is this horrible that the government, which has tons of fucking money, and it's not because they generate money or value, offer any kind of value that they've accumulated wealth from. No, they just appropriate through tax, which is theft, from us to provide essential services or vital functions to national security or whatever. And what do they do with it? They terrorize the community and they piss money to foreign entities. Okay. Every single member of Congress, Republican, Democrat, and Independent, is a traitor to this country. By the way, under the legal code as it supposedly exists, what is the punishment for high treason? Oh yeah, it's execution by hanging or firing squad. Just so you know. So it's not any kind of threat. It's just an actual legal fact that every single member of the federal government deserves to die. Okay? Not saying anybody should do that outside of legal means. I'm just saying if legal means were actually pursued and the law was real in this country, they would not be alive. Just saying. The same as what happens when you're, especially in any state which is smart enough to still keep the death penalty, which, by the way, if you're anti-death penalty, you're a retard. If you were to be found guilty of first-degree felony aggravated murder, you would be sentenced to death. Barring any kind of like the DA giving you a plea deal or anything like that. That's what would happen to you. The same thing as if you were brought up on high treason charges and were found guilty, that is what would happen to you. So waffling about who to blame, Republicans or Democrats, is meaningless. They all belong at the bottom of a pit. Period. None of them provide a function that makes this country any better. All of them are parasites that not only directly steal with their fucking salaries, not only directly fucking steal with insider trading, which is illegal for everyone but senators and congressmen to do. That, if you ever want to know how a senator who's pulling down somewhere between $350,000 and $400,000 in salary, I forget what individual ones they're worth, or if they get more if they're on some sort of committee or something. How do these people have a net worth of $500 million? I'll tell you how. Insider trading. Because if you can set the laws that affect the market, and you know when those laws will be passed, you can very easily buy and sell stock at will in order to advantage yourself in a way that nobody else legally can. Okay, so they are all criminals. They're all fraudsters, they're all murderers, and they're all thieves and larcenists. Okay, not a fucking one of them, including Trump and our new darling J.D. Vance, are your friend. They are all your mortal fuck enemy. All of them, without exception. And no, I don't believe that there is any man or woman right now running for office who is offering an alternative, or even at this point, with how corrupt the system is, even could offer an alternative. The last few people that tried to run on a platform of actually doing something about this problem were shot and killed by mysterious assassins at some point in the 60s, 70s, and 80s, okay? And since that time, a very long time ago, the corrupt system has so reinforced itself that it doesn't matter. Dude, I don't even think it would matter if you instituted term limits, because at this point, the actual suits in the chairs in Congress anymore aren't even calling the shots anymore. It's people who serve for life until they're fired by somebody, and their ability to be fired is increasingly limited by anybody you could possibly vote it for. And all it takes is a little bit of blackmail and legal threats, or killing the aides of those people, arkanciting some people, for people to back down. And then all these bureaucrats that are directors of this and whatnot and that, whether it's federal agencies, alphabet agencies, 3-letter agencies, it doesn't matter. Okay, those people, you can't do anything about. You can't vote those people in and out. You can only vote for people that you could hope might fire some of those people. They almost never do. And when they do, the news media, which is owned by these same federal agencies, because if you think Disney or indeed Facebook or even YouTube, the platform I'm talking to you on right now, have any control over anything, everyone's like, oh, actually, YouTube's allowed to censor you because it's a private company, except for almost every single censorship initiative that YouTube has ever undertaken. It has done at the direct request of the FBI or the Department of Justice or the Center for Disease Control. Okay. It has no matter how woke and feminist and shithead these Los Angeles fucking numbskulls, these completely fucking hedonistic scumfuck soulless animals that actually run this company, they're not even who's responsible for all the bullshit that has happened in this particular little zone. It's still the federal government. If you're wondering who's pressuring JP Morgan Chase to close your fucking bank account for being a Nazi, it's actually not the Jews running JP Morgan Chase. It's the fucking Department of Justice saying, shut this shit down. We're terrified that a militia respecting the words in written, documents in the Constitution of our founding fathers, who realize that the reason why we have the right to bear arms is because eventually there would be a government that is sitting on top of this country and tyrannizing it or terrorizing it, and that those people would need to be put in a pit that is also the watering reservoir for the Tree of Liberty. And that's why we have guns. It literally is. It's not a threat. That's literally what is written. That We, the citizenry, are expected to do something about this when voting doesn't change shit. Just letting you know. So if you're wondering why the government would not only refuse to help people whose houses have been swept away in a horrific flood, but not only refuse to help those people, but to seek out these private citizens who are attempting to help these people, to feed and clothe and shelter them, and to rob those people like fucking highwaymen at gunpoint. If you're wondering, how did we get to here? It's because some people belong in the fucking ground. Okay, I'm just saying.